that man believed in a devil that had a long tail terminating with a fiery dart, that had wings like a bat, a devil that had a cheerful habit of breathing brimstone, that had a cloven foot, such as some orthodox clergymen seem to think I have. And there has not been a patentable improvement made upon that devil in all the years since. The moment you drive the devil out of theology, there is nothing left worth speaking of. The moment they drop the devil, away goes atonement. The moment they kill the devil, their whole scheme of salvation has lost all of its interest for mankind. You must keep the devil, and you must keep hell. You must keep the devil because with no devil, no priest is necessary. Now, all I ask is this: the same privilege to improve upon his religion as upon his dugout. And that is what I am going to do, the best I can. No matter what church you belong to, or what church belongs to us, let us be honor, bright, and fair. I want to ask you, suppose the king, if there was one, and the priest, if there was one at that time, had told these gentlemen in the dugout, that dugout is the best boat that can be built by man. The pattern of that came from on high, from the great God of storm and flood, and any man who says he can improve it by putting a stick in the middle of it and a rag on the stick is an infidel and shall be burned at the stake. What, in your judgment, honor bright, would have been the effect upon the circumnavigation of the globe? Suppose the king, if there was one, and the priest, if there was one, and I presume there was a priest, because it was a very ignorant age, suppose the king and priest had said, the tom-tom is the most beautiful instrument of music of which any man can conceive. That is the kind of music they have in heaven. An angel sitting upon the edge of a glorified cloud, golden in the setting sun, playing upon that tom-tom, became so enraptured, so entranced with her own music, that in a kind of ecstasy she dropped it. And that is how we obtained it. And any man who says it can be improved by putting a back and front to it, and 4 strings and a bridge, and getting a bow of hair with rosin, is a blaspheming wretch, and shall die the death. I ask you, what effect would that have had upon music? If that course had been pursued, would the human ears, in your judgment, ever have been enriched with the divine symphonies of Beethoven? Suppose the king, if there was one, and the priest had said, that crooked stick is the best plow that can be invented. The pattern of that plow was given to a pious farmer in an exceedingly holy dream, and that twisted straw is the ne plus ultra of all twisted things. And any man who says he can make an improvement upon that plow is an atheist. What, in your judgment, would have been the effect upon the science of agriculture? Now, all I ask is the same privilege to improve upon his religion as upon his mechanical arts. Why don't we go back to that period to get the telegraph? Because they were barbarians. And shall we go to barbarians to get our religion? What is religion? Religion simply embraces the duty of man to man. Religion is simply the science of human duty and the duty of man to man. That is what it is. It is the highest science of all, and all other sciences are as nothing except as they contribute to the happiness of man. The science of religion is the highest of all, embracing all others. And shall we go to the barbarians to learn the science of sciences? The 19th century knows more about religion than all the centuries dead. There is more real charity in the world today than ever before. There is more thought today than ever before. Woman is glorified today as she never was before in the history of the world. There are more happy families now than ever before, more children treated as though they were tender blossoms than as though they were brutes than in any other time or nation. Religion is simply the duty a man owes to man. And when you fall upon your knees and pray for something you know not of, you neither benefit the one you pray for nor yourself. 1 ounce of restitution is worth 1,000,000 of repentances anywhere, and a man will get along faster by helping himself a minute than by praying 10 years for somebody to help him. Suppose you were coming along the street and found a party of men and women on their knees praying to a bank, and you asked them, "Have any of you borrowed any money of this bank?" "No, but our fathers, they too prayed to this bank." "Did they ever get any?" "No, not that we ever heard of." I would tell them to get up. It is easier to earn it, and it is far more manly. Our fathers in the good old times, and the best that I can say of the good old times is that they are gone, and the best I can say of the good old people that lived in them is that they are gone too, believed that you made a man think your way by force. Well, you can't do it. There is a splendid something in man that says, I won't be driven. But our fathers thought men could be driven. They tried it in the good old times. I used to read about the manner in which the early Christians made converts, how they impressed upon the world the idea that God loved them. I have read it, but it didn't burn into my soul. I didn't think much about it. I heard so much about being fried forever in hell that it didn't seem so bad to burn a few minutes. I love liberty, and I hate all persecutions in the name of God. I never appreciated the infamies that have been committed in the name of religion until I saw the iron arguments that Christians used. I saw, for instance, the thumb screw, 2 little innocent looking pieces of iron, armed with some little protuberances on the inner side to keep it from slipping down, and through each end a screw. And when some man had made some trifling remark, for instance, that he never believed that God made a fish swallow a man to keep him from drowning, or something like that, or, for instance, that he didn't believe in baptism, you know that is very wrong. You can see for yourself the justice of damning a man if his parents happen to baptize him in the wrong way. God cannot afford to break a rule or two to save all the men in the world. I happened to be in the company of some Baptist ministers once. You may wonder how I happened to be in such company as that. And one of them asked me what I thought about baptism. Well, I told them I hadn't thought much about it, that I had never sat up nights on that question. I said, baptism with soap is a good institution. Now, when some man had said some trifling thing like that, they put this thumb screw on him, and in the name of universal benevolence and for the love of God, man has never persecuted man for the love of man. Man has never persecuted another for the love of charity. It is always for the love of something he calls God, and every man's idea of God is his own idea. If there is an infinite God, and there may be, I don't know, there may be 1,000,000 for all I know. I hope there is more than one. One seems so lonesome. They keep turning this down, and when this was done, most men would say, I will recant. I think I would. There is not much of the martyr about me. I would have told them, now you write it down and I will sign it. You may have 1 God or 1,000,000, 1 hell or 1,000,000. You stop that. I am tired. Do you know, sometimes I have thought that all the hypocrites in the world are not worth 1 drop of honest blood. I am sorry that any good man ever died for religion. I would rather let them advance a little easier. It is too bad to see a good man sacrificed for a lot of wild beasts and cattle. But there is now and then a man who would not swerve the breadth of a hair. There was now and then a sublime heart, willing to die for an intellectual conviction, and had it not been for these men we would have been wild beasts and savages today. There were some men who would not take it back. And had it not been for a few such brave, heroic souls in every age, we would have been